If you're a Salesforce professional, someone preparing for certifications, or planning your long term career in the Salesforce ecosystem, this is a video you should definitely watch till the end. Salesforce has announced one of the biggest certification restructurings we have seen in recent years. Several certifications are being retired, several others are being renamed, and understandably, this has created a lot of questions in the community. This has created a lot of confusion. Should I still pursue these certifications? Will my existing certifications become invalid? Should I change my certification strategy? And most importantly, what does this mean for my career going forward? Having worked in Salesforce ecosystem for more than 16 years across consulting, architecture, delivery, and capability building, I have seen the certification landscape evolve multiple times. So, in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what's changing, who is impacted, and what I personally believe Salesforce professionals should focus on next. So, let's get started. Let's start with the announcement itself. Salesforce has decided to retire a number of certifications and accredited professional credentials. At the same time, several certifications are being renamed and repositioned. Now, before anyone panics, let me make one thing very clear. This is not Salesforce reducing the importance of certifications. In my opinion, this is Salesforce preparing its certification ecosystem for the next phase of platform evolution. Over the last few years, Salesforce has been investing heavily in artificial intelligence, Agentforce, data cloud, automation, and industry solutions. Naturally, the certification program also needs to evolve and align with these strategic priorities. And that's exactly what we are seeing now. Before we go any further, we need to understand one very important concept. Retired and renamed are two completely different things. A few certifications are being retired and a few of them are being renamed. A retired certification means Salesforce will stop offering that exam after a certain date. New candidates will no longer be able to earn that credential. A renamed certification, on the other hand, continues to exist. The certification is still there, only the name changes. And honestly, I think this is where a lot of confusion is coming from. I've already seen discussions online where people assume that their certification is disappearing when in reality it's simply being renamed. So, throughout this video, make sure you understand which category your certification belongs to because the actions you need to take can be very, very different. Now, let's talk about the obvious question. Why is Salesforce making these changes? Personally, I think the answer is quite straightforward. The Salesforce platform today looks very different from what it looked like even 5 years ago. The platform has expanded significantly, customer expectations have changed, technology has changed, and the skills organizations need have also changed. Having worked on large enterprise Salesforce implementations across industries, including financial services, healthcare, education, manufacturing, and public sector, I can confidently say that organizations today expect professionals to understand much more than configuration and customization. They expect professionals to understand AI. They expect professionals to understand automation. They expect professionals to understand business outcomes. And increasingly, they expect professionals to understand how all these capabilities work together. I believe Salesforce certifications are now evolving to reflect exactly that reality. Let's look at the first set of certifications that Salesforce plans to retire. I'm not going to read every certification one by one because you can pause this video and review the list yourself. Instead, I want you to focus on one question. Is there anything on this list that you are currently preparing for, or perhaps something you have been planning to pursue? If the answer is yes, then pay very close attention to the upcoming deadlines because you still have an opportunity to earn these certifications before retirement. And remember, retirement does not reduce the value of the knowledge associated with these certifications. Many professionals have built successful careers around these credentials. Here's the second set of retiring certifications. Again, take a moment to review this list carefully. Some of these certifications have served the Salesforce ecosystem extremely well for many years, but technology keeps evolving, products evolve, customer expectations do evolve, and certification programs must evolve as well. I would encourage you not to look at these retirement negatively. Instead, think of them as Salesforce making room for newer learning path and newer opportunities. Now, let's look at the certifications that are being renamed. Personally, I find this slide extremely interesting. Notice how the word Agentforce appears in several new certification names. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think Salesforce is sending a very clear message here. Artificial intelligence is becoming deeply embedded into Salesforce ecosystem, having worked closely with customers over the years. One thing I have learned in this, every major technology shift creates new opportunities. Cloud created new opportunities, mobile created new opportunities, digital transformation created opportunities, and now AI and Agentforce are creating another major opportunity for Salesforce professionals. This slide is probably giving us a glimpse into where Salesforce sees the future. Now let's discuss the dates, because understanding what is changing is only half the story. Understanding when these changes happen is equally important. You need to know when registrations close, when the last exam can be taken, and when these certifications officially retire. My recommendation is simply, if you are seriously considering one of these certifications, don't wait until the last minute. Create a plan, prepare early, schedule your exam, and avoid unnecessary stress closer to the deadlines. If we have to speak about specific time dates, last day to register for any of the retiring certifications is July 24th, 2026. Last day to take any of these exams, retiring exams, is August 31st, 2026. Official retirement date for the certification is Feb 1st, 2027. This is probably the biggest concern in the community. What happens if I already hold one of these certifications? What happens to that certification? The answer is actually quite reassuring. Your achievement doesn't disappear. You earned that certification, you passed the exam, you demonstrated the knowledge and expertise required at that point in time. That achievement remains part of your professional history. I've personally seen professionals build excellent career with certification that later evolved or changed over time. Technology keeps changing, certifications keep changing, but knowledge and experience continue to hold value. So if you already hold one of these certifications, there's absolutely no reason to panic. Let's pause and summarize the key message, the key takeaways so far. First, understand whether your certification is retiring or simply being renamed. Second, review the timelines carefully. Third, avoid reacting based on social media discussions and assumptions. And finally, think long term. Your career is much bigger than any single certification. Certifications are, of course, important, but continuous learning and adaptability are far more important. Let's now look at how these changes impact different groups. If you are a new learner, I would encourage you to focus on future ready certifications and emerging technologies. If you're already certified, this is a great opportunity to evaluate your certification portfolio and plan your next learning journey. And if you are a hiring manager or employer, make sure your team understand these changes properly, because renamed certifications should not create confusion during recruitment and skill assessment. This is probably the question many of you have been waiting for. Should you still pursue a retiring certification? Should you still pursue a retiring certification? That's a very common question a lot of people have in mind. My answer to this is, well, it depends. If you have already completed most of your preparation, then absolutely, it may still make sense. But if you are starting completely from the scratch today, I would carefully evaluate whether the replacement certification offers better long term value. Having mentored and trained hundreds of Salesforce professionals over the years, one thing I have learned is never chase a certification simply because it's about to disappear. Pursue certifications that align with your long term career goals. That's always the better strategy. Now, let's talk about where I believe Salesforce professionals should focus going forward. Having spent more than 16 years designing and delivering Salesforce solutions for enterprises across multiple industries, I strongly believe the next few years will be defined by four major capabilities: artificial intelligence, agent force, data cloud, and architecture. These are the areas where Salesforce is investing heavily. And historically, aligning your skills with Salesforce strategic investment has always been a good long term career strategy. Remember this: certifications validate skills, they don't replace skills. The real objective should always be building expertise that organizations genuinely need and are willing to invest in. Let's finish with a practical action plan. Step 1, review your current certification. Step 2, identify any certifications that are retiring or being renamed. Step 3, understand the timelines. Step 4, evaluate replacement certifications and future learning paths. And finally, continue investing in future ready skills. Technology will keep evolving, Salesforce will keep evolving, and professionals who keep learning will continue creating opportunities for themselves. The Salesforce ecosystem has never stood still. Products change, technologies change, certification names change, and that's completely normal. The professionals who succeed are not necessarily the ones with the highest number of certifications. They are the ones who continuously learn, adapt, and stay relevant. So don't view these announcements with anxiety. View them as an opportunity to learn something new, an opportunity to realign your career, and an opportunity to prepare yourself for the future of the Salesforce ecosystem. I would love to hear your thoughts. Which certification change impacts you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.